Today is Wednesday, August 23rd, 2017. We are in room 1010 of the Los Angeles City Hall. It is 3 p.m. and we are going to commence with quorum. Mr. Krikorian is here with us and myself. We'd like to note for the record that speaking on more than one item, a member for the public speaking on more than one item shall be allowed to speak up to 1 minute per item, for a total of 2 minutes. Also, there will be afforded a general public comment, another 1 minute. Maximum time will be 3 minutes. Mr. Herman, you are scheduled to speak today. You have 3 minutes.
I'd like to talk about the reports relative to approval of the results of housing opportunities for persons with not just AIDS, but let me talk about
the Accessible Housing Program, ACHP, which ensures that people with disabilities have an equal opportunity to rent, enjoy, and use affordable rental housing funded by the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Los Angeles at 1-866-557-7368. However, the City of Los Angeles is nothing more but a neo-Nazi housing camp, because I've been homeless since 2008 and not one motherfucking agreement or settlement agreement has happened in my favor for housing. So fuck you. And then Krikorian, relative to preparation of a draft ordinance, authorize, acquire, receive, manage, convey, bullshit, develop, property, bullshit, source, purpose, policy, housing. You're just a fucking loser, Krikorian. Go back to your fucking Armenian country and stick it up your ass. Item number 4 now, relative to authorization and request proposal for the urgent repair program. What urgent repair program? Woolitz versus Los Angeles. Fix my motherfucking goddamn fucking sidewalks and streets, you stupid fucks.
That has nothing to do with
That has to do with urgent repair program.
Mr. Herman.
Item number 5, convene a fair market value surplus city fucking property located at East L Street, Habitat for Humanity. Well, I'm the humanity, motherfucker. So shut the fuck up and let me speak about the Los Angeles development of no fucking affordable single-family homes, which I can't rent.
Herman. Standpoint.
And regarding now my general public comment, Dennis versus United States. Fuck all you stupid motherfucking stupid assholes, as Sheila Q, for the record, will put it and say, the Department on Disability Housing Listing Guide doesn't do one fucking thing for you. Accessible housing programs that ensures people with disabilities have an equal opportunity to rent, enjoy, and use affordable rental housing. Fuck all of you on behalf of every disabled man, woman, and child, family member, and more so our veterans, American citizens who can't flip a fucking burger and have any type of affordable housing other than live on the goddamn streets under HHH. Something the taxpayers voted on and something you fucking can't do other than push paper from this end to that end and don't get a goddamn thing done, you stupid dumbass.
7
Krikorian.
seconds.
I got 5 fucking seconds.
You got
Fuck
4
the goat.
seconds.
Like he's smiling. I love you.
That ends the time period. Mr. Krikorian, I suggest that we take 2 through 5 out of order and move them on consent, with specific instructions on item 3 to report back within 45 days.
Mr. Chair, if I could just briefly read items 2 through
Yes,
5 on
please.
the record. Item 2, HCID CO reports relative to approval of the technical assistance HOPWA results. Item 3, motion City of Krikorian relative to preparation of a draft ordinance to authorize the HCID to acquire, receive, manage, convey, dispose, and develop property. Item 4, HCID report relative to authorization to release an RFP for the urgent repair program. And item 5, HCID and CAO2 report relative to the conveyance at fair market value of surplus city property located at 600 East L Street to Habitat for Humanity.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple questions on number 2. If that's okay. Other than that, read the others on consent. Hi.
Good afternoon.
So a couple of things. First, there was only one response to the RFP, and this seems to be a recurring theme with a lot of the cities contracting. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are about why we had so little interest in responding to this RFP, number one. And then number two, the services that are being described in the scope of work don't seem to me to be so extraordinary that they couldn't be services that would be handled by city employees within the department for the same or less money. So can you talk about those two issues, please? Why are we not getting a response from the outside world to our RFPs? And why can't we do this in-house by just staffing up?
Right. In terms of, for the record, my name is Rebecca Ronquillo. I'm here with the HOPWA program. With respect to your first question, sir, what I can tell you is that we did open up our opportunity, not only through our traditional means with respect to the newspaper, BAVIN, email blast, but we did open it up to other entities that we know also provide technical assistance, to HUD, for example. So we did expand our mailing list and our interest list. We also, from what I understand and what I was involved with, we did also provide the opportunity for interested parties to fulfill the mandatory proposers conference electronically through a WebEx application. So that was expanded to them too. At the end of the day, I can't tell you what cost-benefit analysis each individual entity conducted to make a decision, but we were available for technical assistance questions and any other types of questions that they may have had to help them respond to the proposal.
Yeah, it's just that it's an issue. There are two sides of this issue always with contracting. One is, are we doing adequate outreach and casting a wide enough net to be able to get enough bidders in? And then the second part of that is there something fundamentally challenging about doing business or providing services to the city that causes bidders not to want to submit bids? And, you know, it sounds like you did the appropriate outreach to try to get the word out. When we do these contracts and we're not getting competitive bidding, it kind of defeats the whole point of competitive bidding because there is no competition and therefore there's no check on the no market check on the price. And therefore, I especially wonder, why don't we just hire people to do this work? Especially if it's recurring work. This doesn't sound, nothing in the scope to me, to a layperson, sounded like it was one-off, highly technical stuff that we were going to do one time and then not have a need for again. It sounded like kind of ongoing responsibility. So maybe you could speak.
Council member, my name is Elizabeth Diaz. I oversee the procurement process for the department, and I wanted to address your concern about the staff that you believe, the city staff, may be available to provide these services. As you may know, for all our procurements, we conduct the Charter Section 1022 process, whereby we submit to Personnel Department our intent to provide these services as a contract. Personnel Department then evaluates our information form and decides whether or not they believe there are city staff available to do the work. So it was based on that determination that they found that no, in fact, there wouldn't be adequate staff. Or what we do sometimes is we do also outreach to departments if they identify certain positions that they believe could, in fact, do the work. We do outreach to those departments because not only must we have the classifications available, but we must also have the staff be available within the city to do the work. So we conduct outreach to every city department and let them know we intend to do this work on a contract basis. Do you have staff both available and in that classification to the work? We record the responses, and in many occasions they indicate the staff, the department's responses that they don't have available staff. They may have those classifications, but they don't, in fact, have available staff to do the work. Therefore, we then follow up. We submit a further request to the CAO for a determination on whether or not we can go forward based on the response we received from the departments, and then the CAO determines whether or not it's more feasible
Yeah.
to do the contract.
So I get all that background, and I'm going to support this, but I just want to kind of signal, I guess, that as we go forward, if there are services of a pretty routine nature that are being regularly contracted, and there are not current city personnel who are currently available to do that, then I would urge you to put in your next budget a request for the people to do this work so that we can actually hire city employees who can conduct those services, and that we don't have to go out in what turns out to be a non-competitive bidding process. I just think we'll get more bang for our buck. We'll develop more in-house expertise. We'll be less dependent upon a handful of contractors who, are making an industry out of advising us on stuff that we should be doing. I mean, our housing department should be able to handle these housing-related tasks, and if we don't have the people, we should hire the people. So that's not always going to happen. Sometimes it's the once every 5 years assessment or those sorts of things. That's a different thing than the more routine tasks. So I just, like I said, I invite you to consider whether there are things like this that recur that maybe we could staff up and get you more people and more resources so that we can do this in-house.
And just one more point, I'd like to also address your concern about the outreach, because I know that Councilmember Cedillo and his staff have mentioned this before. And what we'd like for you to know is that we have expanded our outreach. A week before we release the RFP, we send out a notice of release to interested parties. We ask program staff to identify those individuals they believe would be interested in this work, and we send that out to those, but we've also expanded that to actually send a notice to your offices, to your chiefs of staff, and to your field directors, because I know the concern was from Councilmember Cedillo that there are maybe local entities in your district that may want to benefit or take advantage of the funding opportunities. So please know that we are sending the notice of these funding opportunities to your offices with the hope that you will then share this with maybe nonprofits or other relevant organizations in your district, because my understanding is that you do know your districts better than anyone. So we're hoping that you can share those contracting opportunities. We're expanding the outreach to send notices to our business source centers, the city's system, and we're asking them because we know that they are there present to provide assistance for contracting opportunities. So we have expanded that and we have initiated that, and we're also sending it to the Mayor's Office of Small Business. So we have expanded our outreach. We're hoping that in the future it will generate additional responses.
That's great. And, your department is not unique in this. I mean, this is across the board in the city that it always frustrates me that we never seem to get the robust response to RFPs that I would have expected that we'd get. And, I think some of it is it's hard to do business with the city as the other party of the contract sometimes, and we need to do a better job of making it easier. But
Certainly.
that's a bigger question for another issue. But I'm certainly going to support this today.
So moved.
That's it.
Item 5, we want that to be forthwith to council. Item 5, forthwith to council. Okay.
Mr. Chair, that takes us to item 1.
Yes, please.
Item 1, HCID report relative to amendments to the 43rd Program Year Housing and Community Development Consolidated Plan.
Good afternoon, council members. Abigail Marquez, Assistant General Manager with the Housing and Community Investment Department. I'm joined by my colleague Angela Peavy, who serves as the Consolidated Plan Program Manager. Before you do have a transmittal that was prepared by our department that provides additional details as it relates to the Consolidated Plan for Program Year 43. As you may or may not recall, the plan was in fact approved by the mayor and council earlier this year on February 24th. However, as we have also shared and updated the council, HUD this year did not release their federal allocations for program year 2017 until June of this year. We did, in our program year for the plan, we did amend the budget, which does include, I'm sorry, let me backtrack a little. The current comp plan budget does include a total of $140 million in funding across 4 entitlement grants. The 4 grants, as you're familiar with, is the Emergency Solutions Grant, the Home Grant, the HOPWA grant, which we just talked about, and the Community Development Block Grant. And although 3 of the 4 entitlement grants were less than the amounts approved in the city's approved plan, there is a net increase in the funding due to a couple of areas. One is that there is additional program income that was received at the end of the prior year. There were additional savings from prior years, and there are some proceeds from a CRA sale. The February council action to approve the program year 43 plan did include some contingency language, and that was reported to you all by the CLA's office. We did incorporate that language into this transmittal and into the revised budget that is before you. However, for ESG, for CDBG and HOPWA, the changes are much greater than we had authority to amend, which now requires that we request approval from the council and the mayor. The transmittal does request authority to adopt and revise the budget, to submit the amended budget to HUD, which will include another 30-day public notice period, and the approval of contract authorities and controller instructions that are outlined in the report as well. The last thing I'll say is that you will notice that we do have an additional $2.8 million in CDBG available that has not been allocated as of yet to any particular projects. We are working with the mayor's office, the CLA, the CAO, your offices, and various other council offices to identify projects that are shovel ready and can be added some funding for this year and we're very mindful of the timeliness issues that we've been faced with over the years, and so we're hoping that all of our projects will help us with the timeliness issues. We're happy to answer any questions if you have any.
So you'll report back in 30 days? CL. Okay. Good. We're going to hold this in committee. Any other items?
No, Mr. Chair, that concludes the agenda.
Mr. Krikorian, is there a motion to adjourn? So be the order. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry we had to bring you up.